This is a controller from TEMU, and I bought 10 budget controllers from TEMU to test because I'm sick of spending $200 on a single controller that didn't even work out of the box. First controller was the cheapest controller, and really for a good reason. It was supposed to be the Nintendo 64 controller. There's honestly nothing productive you can do with the Nintendo 64 controller in 2024. It was just really cheap, and I wanted to have one because I think they're nostalgic. I never ended up getting it. I think it got lost or stolen, but hear me out. Paying $10 for a controller that optimistically worked but never showed up is way better than paying $200 for a controller that definitely showed up but never worked to begin with. 4 out of 5. Controller 2 was one of my favorites, and by the way, these are all honest and accurate ratings. I'm not holding any grudges. That would be a waste of everyone's time. Also, TEMU sent me a $100 coupon bundle code, so if you want to grab some free stuff, the code is on the screen and it'll be in the description. Anyways, this controller cut right to the chase and I really liked the vibe. Would have liked an actual color, but unfortunately, that wasn't in the budget. I was testing every controller with the games I thought they would work best with, so I did play some Fortnite in this video. Do not click off. This is one of my favorite games ever called Portal 2, but back to the controller. I liked that it didn't try to tell me it was something it wasn't. Right out of the box it told me, and I knew exactly what to expect, and when I got around to testing it, it was simply a wireless controller, and a damn good one at that. 5 out of 5. Controller 3 was also just a wireless controller. There was just RGB this time though, which is always a nice upgrade, and it was also compatible with Windows and Android, which I never heard of. But when I plugged it into my PC, the lights turned on and I had no problems gaming. I gotta give credit where credit is due. Hats off to them for making 2 new platforms the controller can work on in addition to PC. There were also back paddles I was able to remap, which is a surprising feature for under $20. Paddles add so much value to a controller for me because when I'm gaming, I don't play claw. I only use controllers with paddles, so the option here for really cheap is nice. There are also gyro controls, so if you like gyro, you're in luck because now it's an option too. For $20, it does a lot more than I thought it would do, besides it looking like I stole it from my little cousin's room. I would actually find myself using this without complaining too much. 4 out of 5. For this video, I wanted every controller to be a little bit better, so if you're sick of the regular wireless controllers now, you're in luck because this is a high performance wireless controller. It's clearly better than the other wireless controllers because if you didn't notice, they said so. Gyro, RGB, double vibration. I didn't expect anything less from this controller compared to the rest until I plugged it in. I mean, it worked fine, but it didn't have paddles, so besides the RGB, we were back to square one. But don't let that bother you too much because for less than the 4th controller, Controller 5 might be the best controller I've bought so far. It's called the Master Series controller, and besides being wireless too, the main selling points were its 4 different modes, custom buttons, some kind of turbo mode, and more RGB. I didn't have time to dive into everything it could do, nor did I care because I had 5 other controllers to try. But this thing looked and felt pretty solid. Plus, it had 4 paddles, so I knew it was time for another game. I've been trying to learn Spelunky. Do not play Spelunky. Because after raging, I figured out that the back paddles weren't being remapped. They were being recorded as a macro. So that's the reason I couldn't jump and why I didn't get past the first 30 seconds of the tutorial. Also, I realized later that I literally could have just paid attention to the box because that is what it said. But who does that when you have 5 other controllers? I'm not gonna be harsh because there wasn't any input delay. 4 back paddles for $30 is actually a steal. You don't see that often at all. And the controller was built very decently. 4 out of 5. Another one of my favorites was controller 6. I actually didn't even test this one. I had an Xbox 360 growing up and I just kind of wanted to make my new shelf look cool. But also I needed a break from Spelunky. 5 out of 5. And speaking of needing a break, I think we all need a break sometimes. And that's why I bought controller 7. This is the micro controller from 8BitDo. And after seeing how cute it was, I had to try it. This is the smallest controller I've ever seen or ever tested. I did say that I want all the controllers to be a little better, but I also lie a lot. I didn't lie this time though, because I do think this controller tops every other controller I've bought, but in a different way. You know the vibe that you're going for depending on what game you play. So like, why bring a gun to a fist fight? I connected it to my Switch on my console setup and it was perfect for something like Animal Crossing. I think I got a fish, then I like picked up an apple or something, and then I cut that shit off. 5 out of 5. And while we're still on the Switch, I've never tried controller 8 before, but I'm sure that it's one of the best Switch controllers you can buy. First of all, because I've seen it before, and also I just know because it's GameSir. I think GameSir and FlyDigi are the best third-party controller brands, and they always just have quality budget products. This controller had Hall effect sticks and remappable back paddles, along with multi-platform connectivity and a bunch of accessories. It'll probably be your perfect travel controller. It houses the Switch or like an Android or iOS device, and then you have a literal mobile setup. I mean, I played a few games of Mario Kart on it and I was satisfied. It was just very convenient and probably all you need if you're always on the go. And since we're still talking about GameSir, I did already try controller number 8, but I needed some alone time with it. I'm not even gonna keep y'all waiting. This is a 5 out of 5 controller, and I didn't want to skip it because I think everyone should have one of these. Hall effect sticks, back paddles, hair triggers. It's just the perfect budget controller. I was now on Xbox and I ended up playing one of my first console games ever called Trials. It made me miss old games I didn't have to think much about playing. All the everyday games today are so confusing, so I found myself missing the simplicity. Maybe that's why I don't like gaming much anymore. Even with COD, I just bought Black Ops 6 and zombies was so different, but I found myself losing track of time playing something like Black Ops 2. Doesn't mean Black Ops 6 sucks. I just have to evolve with the changes I don't really like. But I don't know if I'm ready yet. But I was more than ready to test the last controller. For $30, this was the controller I was most excited about. Mechanical buttons, physical customizability, Hall effect joysticks, and triggers. Okay, battery life I don't really care about. But lastly, it has its very own customizable app, which makes it instantly comparable to the best controllers I've tried this year. So I decided to test it on my PC on Fortnite because I might actually have found the most underrated controller of 2024. Not gonna lie, it was cool. I can't really remember much because I was testing 9 other controllers all night. So I've realized that saving it for last maybe wasn't the best idea. The sun was out now too, meaning that I officially spent 24 hours just testing controllers. Not like y'all care. But anyways, for the price, I liked it. It was okay. If you think it will make you happy,